Ransomware is back and has once again affected several companies and countries, including India. Operations at a Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust terminal in Mumbai were forced to shut down after being impacted in the cyber attack. The impacted terminal is operated by Musk, which has also reportedly seen disruptions in Los Angeles. JNPT Chairman Anil Dikkar told the media that the port has been trying to clear containers manually and is operating at about a third of its capacity. Kevin Lee is here with details. Kevin, firstly, take us to the scale of this attack and how can this be averted, if at all? I agree that the India impact is minimal this time around, but the fact is that this is the second of its kind and we are seeing similar such smaller cases across the board. So what can be done right now?
Well, definitely seeing a lot of ransomware attacks. We saw the WannaCry attack about a month or two ago. That was really bad as well. Now we are seeing Petya, which originated in Ukraine. Ukraine government systems were the first to be hit, including their central bank, their telephone lines, the municipal metro, the airport, even Chernobyl nuclear plant affected by this ransomware, and also a large number of companies reporting infections. And this is where India comes in, because these are foreign companies, and because they're being infected and because their networks are connected to India, we've seen a problem. Like you mentioned, Musk was one of the first companies to report an infection. This has spread to a computer in Mumbai at the JNPT, which is seeing reduced capacity. But to take you through the list of other companies which have seen a problem, Rosneft, Saint-Gobain, WPP, all big companies who should be spending quite a lot of money on cybersecurity are being infected. Mondelez International and Mars. So if you're a fan of chocolates, well, this might affect you because these two companies have reported infections as well. Reckitt Benesser, which is of course the pharma giant, also reporting an infection. So any Indian subsidiary of these companies which is connected to that network might face a problem. So that might be a problem going forward. Speaking about what you can do to cure the virus, there is no one kill switch. So there is no solution as such. There is a preventative measure that you can take. A website called Bleeping Computer came out with this fix where you can create a file called perfc, that's PERFC. If you create that in your C directory in the Windows folder, then apparently the virus will not affect your computer. However, if your computer has already been affected by the virus, it will try to restart automatically and you should not let it restart. So if your computer shuts off unexpectedly and it reboots with a message that says that your disk needs to be checked, shut off your computer immediately, disconnect it from the internet and try to get a backup of your data. For more details on that, we're joined by Sajan Paul from Juniper Network. Juniper Network, in fact, has come out with a rapid response. Mr. Paul, appreciate you joining us on CNBC TV 18. Now, some Indian companies, most notably JNPT, has reported an infection. Any other Indian companies that are your clients, are they coming to you and reporting any signs of infection from this ransomware?
I think we've lost the connection, Kevin. But, the point is that all these companies, as you were pointing out, have Indian subsidiaries. And, there have been reports coming out that some Indian corporates, some PSUs as well, have seen minor infections. So the point is that what can corporates do to ensure that this does not repeat, that there is a minimized infection on a corporate level? Is there some data that we have as to what corporates are doing right now?
Well, one problem in Indian corporates, Kritika, is that a lot of them have older versions of the Windows operating systems. For example, Windows XP, which is not really used in a lot of computers in foreign countries, is used a lot in India. And this is especially vulnerable to such ransomware attacks. So we saw with WannaCry also, ATMs were affected because they run on Windows XP. So what they actually can do is spend a lot more money on updating these systems so that they're less vulnerable to these attacks. But talking from a personal computer basis, if you are affected by this ransomware, do not pay the ransom at any cost. This is because the email ID that the cyber attackers had given has been shut off. So even if you pay the ransom, there's no way to connect to the hackers and actually get your data back. So you're not going to get your data back. So one piece of advice that I would like to give to viewers right now is if your computer is impacted, do not pay the ransom at any cost.
Okay, fair enough. Don't pay the ransom at any cost. Thanks, Kevin. We actually have our guest joining in, the CTO of Juniper Networks. Mr. Paul, the question that Kevin asked you before the line got cut was that, are there any of your clients that have come to you? I believe that you have seen instances of some Indian PSUs also being affected. Any details that you have as far as the India impact is concerned?
Not specifically any specific customer has approached us, but generally we know that there are certain systems affected, and we have given enough technical to contain those at the moment.
Mr. Paul, now we're seeing a spate of cyber attacks. We saw the ransomware called WannaCry just last month. What should Indian companies really be doing to make sure that their security is beefed up enough to deal with these problems? And currently, what is the status?
Yeah, so if you look at the WannaCry, we have seen that around 300,000 plus systems affected worldwide, and 5% of that is in India. And this specific virus, Petya, is a refinement of WannaCry that we are seeing. Some of the flaws which was in WannaCry has been eliminated. That is scary because even if you want to neutralize it, it may not be that easy. The real issue is systems which are not patched. There's not enough awareness of the cybersecurity and things like that. So what I see is we must ensure that the systems are patched up to date, and the sufficient cybersecurity mechanism and awareness is inculcated in everybody. That's extremely important. So from Juniper Network's point of view, we are sensitizing our customers, and certain configuration changes, etc., in our security system could actually detect it, and we have seen that that's coming in across the world. While this particular virus, Petya, there are some of the details are still emerging, but we know that it is a kind of a strain out of WannaCry.
Mr. Paul, one last question. In the next 24 hours, what Indian companies can we expect to be affected? We talked about subsidiaries of these global giants that have been affected. Are those computers likely to be hit in the next 24 to 48 hours?
I think anybody who was vulnerable to WannaCry is vulnerable to this one as well, and even more. And what I'm seeing is this is more faster, and some of the key flaws in the previous version is disabled. But there is hope still that with certain minor tweaks quickly on the system can do that. But systems which are already affected, they need to be removed from the network as quick as possible.